Hey, konnichiwa minasan, it's Gray from Wakizashi's Teahouse over in Japan. How are you doing? Are you good? Are you genki? Are you ready for some comic book talk? I know I am. And I tell you what, I've had a really good week of comics, catching up on some series I've kind of missed, reading some good new comics, a good strong focus on indie comics as well. But yeah, let me tell you what I've been reading. So, I've been catching up on Local Man by Tim Seeley and Tony Fleece. Are you reading this series by any chance? Because it has been so good and I kind of fell off it for a while, but after listening to a couple of podcasts recently and an interview with Tony Fleece, I was like, okay, I need to pick this back up and catch up, and that's what I'm in the process of doing. I've also read the latest issue, which I'll talk about later and will review later on, of The Hunger and the Dusk by G. Willow Wilson and Chris Wildgoose. I also gone back and caught up on the missing issues. Well, the issues I'd missed for that. So I've got the first 6 now and I'm halfway through. So it's so good. It's great fantasy, D&D style adventure. It's just really good comics with well-written, rounded characters. Who cares at the orcs and humans, eh? Orcs can be good characters too. That's what I say. And I've even been going very far back in time to Peanuts. That's right, Charlie Brown and Snoopy. I'm talking the original, the first collection, which has the first newspaper strips from, I think it was 1950 he started it, if you can believe that. And Charlie Brown looks pretty different in those early strips. So does Snoopy, to be honest. But Charlie Brown, yeah, it does look different. It's interesting to see how the character has changed over time. And also, one of my favourite long-time series, I've been catching up and jumping back in time with Usagi Yojimbo. A little bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Usagi Yojimbo. And, of course, the recent, is it Snow? No, I nearly said Fire and Ice then. Fire and Ice? That's a completely different series, which is also very good. I'm looking forward to issue 3. I'm talking about the fantasy one. Not that DC nonsense, just saying, okay? But yeah, let me check the title here. Ice and Snow, the most recent Dark Horse Usagi Yojimbo. It's been a 5-part storyline. We just had the epilogue, issue 5. So yeah, I was rereading issue 1, 2. It's a masterclass in storytelling. Simple as that, with gorgeous art. You know, Stan Sakai makes it look simple, but it's not. And I don't know if you're aware, but now he draws directly in pen. Apparently he didn't used to until his good friend Sergio Aragonés. Gru the Wanderer. Sergio Aragonés was saying, like, Stan, you know, why are you wasting so much time drawing in pencils first and then drawing in pen over the top? So there we go. That's the advice. Tell you what, I wish I could draw even half that well in pencil or pen. And what else has been good recently has caught my eye. Going back in time. That's right, I knew another one. Again, this is from that interview with Tony Fleece, which is on the Awesome Comics podcast. I do recommend that, by the way. Stray Dogs, issue 1. So I need to collect the whole series. Stray Dogs by Tony Fleece. Let's have a look. I'm trying to catch up on who the artist is. I know it's a female artist. Is it Fiona? Let's have a look. So written by Tony Fleece. Artist by Trish Forstner. Completely wrong grey there. Sorry about that. And colours by Brad Simpson. But Stray Dogs, it's a surprise for me. If you're going off just the art, it looks a little bit like a Disney animation. But this story suggests darkness is coming. It's cool. Is it going to be a kind of serial killer dog story? But yeah, so I'm jumping into that. Better late than never, as they say. But without further ado, stop all this waffling. Let's get on with Gray's Pick and Mix for the week starting Monday, February 19th, 2024. So this will be for comics coming out on Tuesday the 20th from DC and the rest Wednesday the 21st of Feb. And I tell you what, it's an exciting week. It's a big release week this week. After a couple of fairly quiet weeks, there are a number of comics I've got on my pull list this Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's going to be hard choosing which ones to review on the channel. At this moment in time, I'm probably going to review Hellblazer Dead in America issue 2, which comes out tomorrow, Tuesday. And it has to be Spawn 350 Come on, Spawn issue 350. I don't know if you know if you've found my channel recently or you've been following me for a while, but I kind of started my YouTube channel covering the Spawn universe comics. I used to review all of them, all 4 titles, and my favourites were, from the start, King Spawn and Gunslinger Spawn. I thought they were the two, for me, that were the most enjoyable. I liked the darkness of King Spawn, the kind of horror angle to it, and I just liked the sheer fun of Gunslinger with the incredible art by Brett Booth. But the great news is Brett Booth is switching over to Spawn, the main comic from now. So looking forward to seeing his take on that. Yeah, I used to review all 4 titles. So if you go back to some early reviews of mine, and warning, some of these reviews are not the greatest, okay? Just saying, it's back when Gray was young and pure and innocent and so naive. Not a lot has changed apart from the age, but yeah. Now I'm only really reading Gunslinger and King Spawn, but we'll see if this new issue of Spawn, the Big 350, with that inspire me to get back into the Spawn universe. Okay, other releases I'll be looking out for, and I'm going to talk about them in more detail. It's a big week for Marvel with Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2, The Incredible Hulk issue 9 comes out. We've got Daredevil and 6. And from DC, and I said from Marvel then, from DC, Superman issue 11, along with, of course, Hellblazer, which I already mentioned. And one of the ones I am really looking forward to, it's from Image Skybound. Can you guess what it is? It's Cobra Commander issue 2. Yes, that comes out already on Wednesday, so very much looking forward to that. I can give you a little bit of a preview that I've read, a review copy, and I've got to say it is very, very good. So yes, looking forward to getting a proper copy of that. Okay, so let's go back in time. Let's go back and check out Gray's picks from last week. My picks from the comics last week have a strong indie focus. Firstly, we have the incredible Transformers issue 5, then The Hunger and the Dusk issue 6, as I mentioned before. A new one called If You Find This, I'm Already Dead issue 1 by, I think it's Matt Kint. Then, of course, Usagi Yojimbo Ice and Snow issue 5. I've nothing from Marvel from last week, and only Batman City of Madness 3, the finale from that miniseries by Christian Ward from DC. And honourable mentions go to The Infernals issue 1 and Jennifer Blood Battle Diary issue 3. Okay, let's go into a little bit more detail. So I'm focusing on my picks of the week. I did read quite a few last week, but Batman didn't really stand out. Amazing Spider-Man is just boring. It's gang bore at the moment, unfortunately, although some of the art was pretty good. Action Comics I need to kind of get into. I've missed the boat with Jason Aaron. Just like, it's a case of too many comics at the moment. But the first one to bring up is Transformers issue 5. I was close to giving this a perfect score, like a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 9 or 9.5 because this is just so good. It's amazing. I can't use enough superlatives, is that the right word, to describe this. It's just a complete blast with some great one-liners in there, some cool, kinetic, jumping out of the page action scenes by Daniel Warren Johnson, the artist and the writer. He's just having a blast. It feels like he's having the time of his life. Having the time of his life with this. Time for a violence party, says Starscream. Come on, what a quote. Well, how could you go wrong with that? There's just some incredible scenes. Jim was talking about the one that stood out for him on his Best of the Week, and if you've seen it, if you've read the comic, and it's not really a spoiler, but there's an incredible scene involving one of the human characters, the young woman Carly, and one of the female Transformers, RC. And it's just, can I try and describe it? I don't even know if I can. Carly is basically falling to what appears to be her doom. She's falling into a big pit, and we see RC transform into a car, goes burning up the side of this slope, this hill, like the wall of the pit, skidding up there, opens the door and catches Carly in the car. Just, it's such a good scene. There you go. I've butchered it, but if you can get the comic, if you've not read it, please do. It's a huge recommend. As I say, it's almost a perfect issue, this. And I think it's been getting better and better with each successive issue. Issue 5, so there's one more to go. As far as I know, that's the end of Daniel Warren Johnson doing the art, at least on the comic. I don't know if he's still going to be writing it, but it's the end of the first story arc, so we'll see it. But yeah, very excited for that. Okay, the next one I want to talk about, and these are in no particular order, just the order that they're listed on the leagueofcomicgeeks.com. So let's go down to the second row, and we have Batman City of Madness, issue 3 by Christian Ward. Yes, it's the final part of the squid sushi-faced Batman, Cthulhu, tentacles, sanatorium, losing my mind. And it was a blast, it was great, it's gorgeous art, of course. Christian Ward, what can you say? But brilliant art. It's the terrible origin of the Gotham Below being revealed in the final issue of the cosmic horror epic. There we go. The terrible origin of the Gotham Below and those responsible for protecting its maddening secrets is revealed. We've got Batman, we've got Talon fighting their way through the underground city, trying to find the villains, getting help from a surprising villain who turns out he might be a good guy in this version of Gotham, the Gotham Below. Looks a bit like Tim Leary sat, meditating. Levitating? Is that Dua Lipa? Meditating, turning on, tuning in, dropping out. Such a good scene there. There's some great double page spreads. Really excellent. Just having a quick scroll through some of the reviews on here. People giving it 4 out of 5, so 8, 9 out of 10. People were wanting maybe one more issue. It felt like it was a little bit rushed at the end. If there's one criticism, that would be mine as well. It did feel like he was trying to put too much in right at the end, and we didn't really get a development of the whole point of the story, which was the Gotham Below Batman had taken a young boy, a Robin, to make his Robin, and he was trying to kind of twist him to make him commit a terrible act, an act of revenge. So without spoiling it, yeah, a little bit maybe too rushed at the end. But let's go on to the next comic. I did read Superior Spider-Man 4 on Weird Science Dream's recommendation, and I have to say I didn't enjoy it as much as the last issue. Issue 3 was really good, really fun, good, decent Spider-Man story. Issue 4 was fine, but it just felt like it was peppered with member berries. Nice art though, really nice art. Okay, let's scroll down. Onto the next row, we have Anything for Grey? No, The Scorched, issue 26, which I've kind of flipped through it. I haven't read it properly. I've got one on order. I managed to get hold of a physical copy. It's on its way right now to the Wakizashi Teahouse, all the way from Tokyo. Taking a couple of days, but yeah. The good news is postage within Japan for a couple of issues is not too expensive. So I've got that coming, and I've also got the wonderful Transformers issue 5, and I'm so glad I was able to order a physical copy of that. Seriously, I can't wait to get it in my hands. But yeah, nothing else on the third row. We're going to go down one more. Okay, here we are, The Hunger and the Dusk. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop the audio version of my review from YouTube. So this will be a little bit of a longer one. It'll go into more detail. It'll tell you the first half of the story. So either, if you don't want to know this, you can skip. I'll put a time marker in. You can skip to the next comic, or please keep listening and let me know what you think about my review of The Hunger and the Dusk, issue 6. Written by G. Willow Wilson. It's got art by Chris Wildgoose. I gotta say, I do love that name. Published, of course, by IDW. Price $3.99, and it came out today. Happy Valentine's Day, February the 14th, 2024. I'm late to The Hunger and the Dusk, but better late than never, right? Issue 1 was released back in July 2023, and since then I've been hearing a lot of positive talk about this series, so I picked up this latest issue today. Here's a very brief synopsis for the first issue to give you an idea what it's all about. In a dying world, only humans and orcs remain, mortal enemies battling for territory and political advantage. But when a group of fearsome ancient humanoids, known as the Vangol, arrive from across the sea, the two struggling civilizations are forced into a fragile alliance to protect what they have built. After a bit of online research, I discovered that this is planned as a single story, told over 12 issues. Following this issue, there will be a short hiatus until summer 2024, when issue 7 is published. That gives anyone who's slept on this series a chance to catch up, and I strongly recommend that you do, especially if you have any interest in the fantasy genre or the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game. Co-creators G. Willow Wilson and Chris Wildgoose have created a rich and detailed high fantasy world populated by humans and orcs. Unsurprisingly, they don't get along and are at constant war with each other for control of the land. But the chance for an uneasy peace arrives in the shape of the ancient Vangol, a fierce and powerful race of humanoids from across the sea. Can the orcs and humans leave behind their warring ways and form an alliance against this deadly new threat? That's what this story is asking. And I'll tell you what, I am 100% in on this series after reading issue 6. I immediately bought the previous 5 issues, and I'm halfway through reading them as I write this review. Despite jumping into the story partway through, I didn't feel lost at all. In fact, I think issue 6 works well as a single story in the longer narrative. It can be enjoyed on its own, yet it leaves you curious to find out more about this world and what events led us here. On the lonely road back, our only companions are our memories. In this issue, we follow one of the main characters, Tara, as she makes her way back home. Tara is an orc healer, and she's riding a creature that looks a bit like a yak with wild boar tusks. As she travels, she reminisces about some of the events that led her to this point and place in time. The art by Chris Wildgoose is gorgeous and brings this fantasy world to life. I love the background details, and I was particularly impressed by the different characters' facial expressions all the way through this issue. It's really, really good. Great attention to detail. And this is all topped off by Michelle Sasik and Diana Sousa's colouring. That's right, there are 2 colourists listed. I think the main colourist is Michelle Sasik, and it says Diana Sousa is the assistant colourer. After a few pages, we get a flashback to the Silent Shore some years ago. We see Tara as a young student, and she seems more intent on enjoying the good weather than studying. I know that feeling. Wilson and Wildgoose use these flashbacks as a way of adding flesh and development to the characters. You're meeting characters that you've already met, like in the present day, but you see them when they were younger, you see how they kind of got to know each other, you start to see the connections. It's so well done. And again, just want to point out the lovely detail in these drawings and the great colours. Look at the art by Wildgoose. I love the backgrounds here, getting lost in the little details. But as I mentioned before, do take note of the facial expressions throughout this issue. They're so good, and it just continues through the series. Each character's got a distinctive personality and look to them. Back to the present, we've got Tara still travelling by herself. Look at those huge statues in the background, abandoned to time. We get a great little action scene here of some strange rat-like creatures who are about to attack her, but she throws a throwing knife and takes one out. The others flee in distress. In the next scene, it's night time and she's resting somewhere in an abandoned house. We finally get an introduction to some human characters. Well, it's the first time we've seen them in this issue, and guess what? They ain't up to any good. Tara knows they're there, and she's drawing out one of her throwing knives in preparation, just in case they're about to attack. Listening to their conversation, you know for sure their intentions are not good. Okay, I just want to show another couple of pages before I start the story summary. I don't want to spoil the ending, of course. Look at the action here, penned by Chris Wildgoose. It's really good. There's like minimal dialogue here. You can see the panel progression is showing this pretty vicious attack. But look at Tara, she can take care of herself. But of course, she's not overpowered. She gets hit, she gets struck, she's in trouble. How is she going to get out of this? She's down on the floor with that old guy approaching her with his sword. You see, what did I tell you? A few clever knife tricks ain't enough up here. This is what you get when you wander the North Roads alone, frog face. I would recommend this. It's a great series to jump in on. As I say, issue 6 just dropped, so you've only got 6 to catch up on. Well, I say only, but once you start reading, I'm sure you'll be pulled into the story like I was. If I have to give this a rating, as a standalone issue, just for issue 6, I'm going to give this a very strong 8.5 out of 10. But for the series so far, from what I've read, as I say, I'm up to halfway through issue 3. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. And hopefully it will just continue to get better and better as we go on. Okay, we're back. So, Next one on my list is, we're going down quite far now, we're getting further and further down the comics listed on League of Comic Book Geeks. We have Usagi Yojimbo, issue 5 of Ice and Snow, the epilogue. Stan Sakai wraps up the new Ice and Snow miniseries with a single issue epilogue story. Recovering from their battles with Jay, Blade of the Gods, and his henchmen, and an angry yokai, Usagi and his newly found cousin Yukichi continue their journey across Japan. It's just, again, I talked about it earlier, but we're just talking. You can't go wrong with an issue of Usagi Yojimbo. It's masterclass storytelling by Stan Sakai. 40 years. 40, I can't even say it. 40. Jesus, I've gone really British. 40 years of Usagi Yojimbo is on the cover, and that is such an achievement. What an achievement. Come on, guys, girls, anyone who's listening, cats and dogs. $4.99 though, that's the only thing that kind of... if I have to criticise, and it's not, you can't blame Stan. Dark Horse, I don't know who decided to put it up $1, but it used to be $3.99, always was, Usagi Yojimbo, even with IDW when they were doing it in colour, so you can't say that's the reason it's gone up $1, now it's in colour. But for some reason, Dark Horse and Dogu Publishing, which is Stan's label now, have put it on $4.99, but it's fantastic. It's beautiful. Doesn't get that much press, unfortunately. Only 2 reviews on this site, but they both, one gives it 5 out of 5 and one 4.5 out of 5. Another terrific story from a master storyteller. There we go. Okay, what is next on Gray's list? If you find this, I'm Already Dead, issue 1 from Dark Horse Comics. Now, there is a caveat with this. Even though I really enjoyed it, I've got to warn people, it's $7.99. Yep. $8, and for that you're only getting 32 pages. But the reason is it's been produced in a pulp magazine-sized comic book format. So if you can get a physical copy, it might be worth paying the extra dollars for it. I read a digital review copy and I thought it was a really good pulpy sci-fi story with some interesting characters who are well written in only the first issue. You know, it acts as a kind of quick introduction to this world. Basically, there's a portal being discovered in space which takes them through to a pocket universe called Terminus, and this like team of almost aliens. You know, if you've seen the movie Aliens, the Marines, there's a Marine team with a female reporter. Surprise, surprise! And yeah, they go through to Terminus. She's trying to get a story out of it, and as you can probably imagine, something goes terribly wrong, and she's on the run, running for her life in a strange alien world. That was a surprise for me, and it was thanks to Jim again from Weird Science Comics that I even knew about it. I hadn't even heard it was coming out. So yeah, Matt Kint, always worth a look. And I've got 2 honourable mentions from last week. The first one here, The Infernals, issue 1 from Image Comics. $3.99, written by Ryan Parrott and Noah Gardner, with art by John Pearson. Now, the art really caught my eye in this, not just the kind of dark occult storyline. The art has to be seen to be believed. I think the artist, it says, has worked on parts of Department of Truth. Not to be confused with Martin Simmons, the wonderful Martin Simmons, but yeah, so John Pearson, do check it out if you're looking for something with some awesome kick-ass indie art. But basically, here's a quick synopsis. Abraham Abe Morgenstern, the son of Satan, has 1 month to live. Before he dies, he must decide which of his 3 wayward children, volatile narcissist Nero, conflicted field operative Jackal, or troubled schoolgirl B, will inherit his shadowy empire. Shadows of the Empire. But will Abe ever be able to truly cede control of the apocalypse? Or does the Antichrist have something else up his sleeve? An epic tale about family, power, legacy, and the end of the world. Now, there were quite a few reviews for this, which surprised me because I've not heard anyone talking about it, but they are all very high scores. So yeah, I would recommend you give this a shot if you're looking for something new, maybe something to jump on from issue 1 with some eye-catching art and a dark, magic-style occult storyline. Okay, and the last honourable mention is down here. Where are we? Where's Jennifer? Jennifer Blood, Battle Diary from Dynamite. Now, it was the writer Fred Van Lent that got me to try this out, and I was getting it, actually, I think I got it mixed up with another series, but this was a surprise. I kind of jumped in partway through a story, you know, it's issue 3, but it's basically pulpy action spy thriller with sexy main character. Rated mature, by the way, but maybe not for the reasons you're thinking. Yes, I know it's Dynamite, but it's not all tits and ass in here. It's actually, really well drawn. It's a good story, and we've got a kick-ass main character with some serious violence in this. It's crazy, in a small town in America somewhere. So yeah, worth a look if you're looking for something different, maybe something that's good for a mature title, which has some kick-ass action scenes and doesn't hold back on the blood.
Oh, sniff that.
Right, let's go through the new releases for this week. Let's see what's coming out, see what maybe you're looking forward to, and what Gray's picks are for this week. Here we go. So I'm not reading it, but Batman 144, Part 3 of Joker Year 1 comes out. Nightwing 111. I believe that Tom Taylor is leaving the book after, is it issue 118 or 16? He's got a few more issues to go. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 2, that's the first one I've got listed as want to read. Now, I wasn't that sure about the first issue. Yeah, it was good. It was better than the Zeb Wells' current Amazing Spider-Man. I've got a feeling that Jonathan Hickman's setting things up to knock them all down. He's going to kind of deconstruct Peter Parker in that series. But hopefully I'll be wrong and we'll see how it goes. But yes, as I say, I'm looking forward to reading that. Batman Superman World's Finest 24 is out, and then we've got Superman issue 11, still $4.99. That's one of the things that kind of half puts me off it, but I've been enjoying Joshua Williamson's take on Superman, so I will be reading this. If you read them, there's Titans issue 8, X-Force 49, and then Wonder Woman issue 6 by Tom King. No thanks. That's all I'm going to say about that. Scroll down a row and we've got Daredevil issue 6. I'm looking forward to reading that. Doctor Strange is going to be in this issue. Also Bullseye, as far as I remember. And also from Marvel Chocolate, The Incredible Hulk issue 9 from Marvel Comics. Phil Kennedy Johnson. And let's just check who the artist is on that quickly. Okay, it says here the artist is Danny Earls. So it's not who I was looking for, Nick Klein. Nick Klein's done the cover. Look at that for a cover, by the way. Then, next to the Hulk, we have Spawn, issue 350. Very excited for this. I hope it's a good issue. I hope it's a good story. Can't wait to see the art. Can't wait to see Brett Booth back on there. I will hopefully be dropping a review of that sometime on Wednesday. Then, Gods, issue 5 comes out. Star Wars 43. Catwoman. Anyone still reading Catwoman? It's 62 now. Fair play, it got up to 62. Rise of the Powers of X2, Guardians of the Galaxy Annual, number 1. I'm scrolling down to the third row on League of Comic Book Geeks, and we have Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong, issue 5. I kind of dropped out of that, although I did really like issue 2 when he had Superman fighting Gojira.
Sayonara, sucker.
Cobra Commander, issue 2. Yes, I've already read a preview copy of that and I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to getting a proper copy. Spider-Boy issue 4 comes out, and then we've got Green Lantern, War Journal, issue 6. That is a surprise comic for me, which has pulled me into the story. I like what I've read of Jon Stewart in this. Then, Gray's looking forward to this. I don't know if many people are. I know it's Cy Spurrier, but it's John Constantine, or Constantine, according to Alan Moore. Hellblazer, Dead in America, issue 2. I will be buying that early tomorrow morning, my time, reading it hopefully before work. Then I'll try and get a review done Tuesday night, my time, so it should be up in the States Tuesday morning. Walking Dead, the deluxe version, the colour versions are still coming out. It's 83, that's up to. Spider-Woman 4 and Firepower, issue 30 from Image Comics. I started reading that, back when it began. I think I read the first 12 issues, but I dropped off. Now don't worry, I'm not going to read everything out. Just want to try and shout out the ones that might be appealing to you, the bigger releases. We've got G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue 304. Edge of Spider-Verse, issue 1 comes out. I wonder what that'll be like. It says Weapon V111, so Weapon 8 on the cover. Captain Marvel 5, Alyssa Wong, no thanks. Luke Cage Gang War 4, Animal Pound, issue 2. Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars, Battle World, issue 4. I've heard good things about that from Eric O'Sullivan, but I haven't read it myself. And we have the Holy Roller from Image Comics, that's issue 4. Just going to shout out a few more. I'm also looking forward to reading James Bond 007 issue 2 by Garth Ennis. Bring it on. And can you believe this? Talk about money Marvel money. Come on, give me the money. Predator, The Last Hunt issue 1 comes out, and Alien, Black, White and Blood issue 1. How many Alien series is going to try and get out in a month, in a year, in 6 months? They're just like coming out the I don't know, what's the word? They're pouring out the seams. And the Six Fingers issue 1, it's kind of a complement to, or complementary issue to, The One Hand by Ram V, which came out a couple of weeks ago. Kind of dark indie, serial killer, pulp, future noir story. This, The Six Fingers, is told from the killer's perspective, supposedly. I'm not sure I want to read that, because it's going to spoil the whole mystery, isn't it? Then, just one more to shout out on the road going down. Savage Dragon, 268. Still going. Come on. Whatever you think about the title, Eric Larson, he's still doing it. He's bringing that out for 268 issues, so respect. You have to say respect. Space Usagi, Death and Honor, issue 3. It's an old series, but it's been coloured for the first time. That's also $4.99, Dark Horse. What are you doing, Dark Horse? Charging too much for Usagi. And I think that is where I'm going to end it. Just have a slow scroll down. Nothing else is jumping out. Basic Instinct, issue 3. There we go. So here we are. Gray's back on the screen again. All those listening on the podcast, you can't see me. Thank heavens for that. But I've just got to say, that's it for my picks of last week and my looking forward to issues. God, can't say it any better than that. The issues I'm looking forward to, my shout-outs, my hopefully great reads for the coming week. Thank you as always for watching and listening this long. I can't believe it if you're still here. You are fantastic. You all rock. Shout out to all the members of the Wakizashi Teahouse channel. I love you all. You are awesome. And I hope to see you in a future video and hear you in a future podcast. This has been Gray from Wakizashi Teahouse. I can actually say it now, saying Matane.